Hi guys, welcome back to the channel with me, Dane, and today I'm going to be making for you something that everyone is going absolutely mad about right now, and it's burnt Basque cheesecake. I'm going to make a chocolate version, and it is so decadent and creamy and smooth, and this one, the things that I've put in it, kind of give it kind of a smoky caramel chocolate tone to it. It's absolutely gorgeous, and has a little bit more of a complex flavor than just a regular chocolate cheesecake. It's almost a bit mousse-like as well, and if you've struggled with chocolate cheesecake, or Basque cheesecake before, I'm gonna give you a few hints and tips along the way to make what I've deemed the perfect Basque chocolate cheesecake. Now, I'm gonna start with the recipe, but I'm also gonna tell you that we are now starting to put the ingredients on the screen, so there will be to the left or to the right of me, whichever way they decide, this way. So I'll call them out as well at the same time, but pause the screen, screenshot it if you wanna get the ingredients right now. So I'm gonna start with 285 grams of 70% chocolate chips, just going into a bain-marie, and then also 500 grams of double cream. This is super thick, where we get it from Estate Dairy Farm. You can tell it's just such a natural product. Sometimes it's really thick, sometimes it's a little bit thinner. This is great. And then also, I told you it's got kind of a smoky caramel tone to it. Don't know why this gives it that, but I've got ground espresso here. Just from the jar that you get in the supermarket, this is a tablespoon and a half, 8 grams, and it's going in here. It just adds another tone to the chocolate. It's almost a bit like when we put chocolate in our coffee in our chocolate sponges, but it's more intense than this, and it's just delicious. So I'm gonna heat that and melt it all together. The chocolate cream mixture is melted. Now, we just need to leave this to cool a little bit to about 35 to 40 degrees Celsius, because you kind of want everything in this mixture to be the same temperature. So we want it to be on one level. You can't have the chocolate chilling up here, the eggs down here, and the cream cheese in the middle. We want everything to be aligned, because this can cause big cracks in the cheesecake, and we don't want that. We don't want a nice level top. So the next thing is, I've got some cream cheese. It's been sitting out for about 30 minutes. I've got 810 grams going straight into the mixer here. So that's important to be room temperature. And we're just gonna mix it for about 1 minute until it's broken up. So you'll notice all throughout this recipe, I'm mixing everything on a slow speed. And that's because it's not like making a cake. We want to create as little air in this mixture as possible, so no big air bubbles, else that can cause cracks as well and not get a super even surface. So I'm gonna add into the bowl 230 grams of caster sugar, and I'm gonna sieve these next ingredients in just so we don't get any lumps in the mixture as well, because it's a super smooth batter. I've got 10 grams of cocoa powder. Try and use the darkest cocoa powder that you can find. And then I've got 20 grams of plain flour. And then also I've just got 1 teaspoon of salt going in. Sift that through, and then I'm gonna pop it on the mixer. Just get it mixing on that slow speed just to combine everything. This mixture has had about a minute. I'm just gonna give it a scrape down just so we can get all the bits of cocoa and the cream cheese that hasn't quite mixed in at the bottom. We'll give a chance for the paddle to reach next time. And then next to add is some eggs. So I've got 6 eggs cracked here. I've whisked them up a little bit, and it's 290 grams. So for me, that was 6 large eggs, but weigh out the eggs because you want the weight of the eggs, not the amount of eggs. Just pour them in slowly in a slow stream until it's all combined. This is the time to tell you to preheat your oven to 230 degrees. It is quite hot, but we're only gonna cook this for a very short amount of time, so I'm gonna do that now whilst the chocolate cools. Chocolate has been chilling in the fridge for about 10 minutes, and I have measured it, and it is around 38 degrees. 30, yeah, oh, it's a 34. So it's perfect. I said 35 to 40. There we go. So now we can just pour this slowly into the mixture. But before that, I'm just gonna add 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract, just to add a little bit more sweetness and depth of flavor to the cheesecake. And then we'll just pour the chocolate in slowly. Some recipes I saw didn't have vanilla, but I really wanted to put it in, and it just adds that complexity to the flavor that I really love. That's it, the mixture is ready. And as I told you earlier, mix everything on the lowest speed on your mixer because we don't want huge, big air bubbles in there. So just scrape the batter off of the paddle and then just give it a final scrape just to get any little bits from the bottom. And now the tin I have prepared is a 20 centimeter springform pan, and I've just lined it with a bit of greaseproof at the bottom and then a ring around the to make a collar. And I've put it about 1.5 inches taller than the tin, just because this is quite a lot of mixture and you don't want it to, it won't go over the edge, but just in case, you know, a bit of a safety barrier. And then also beside it, I've prepared a baking tray with 2 sheets of foil on here. And I've also got some tea towels. Now, the hints and tips I was telling you is that I'm just gonna wet the tea towels in some water, wring it out really well, and I've just folded them in strips like this, because what that's gonna do is, with the wet tea towels and the foil, help prevent the heat from getting to the cheesecake too quickly and making it rise too quickly or unevenly, and it'll help to bake nice and evenly and slowly as well, although we're only baking it for a short amount of time. So I'll pop the tin on there and then just wrap the tea towels around like that. So scrunch up the foil around the tin, and that is your baking vessel prepared. Next thing to do is get the cheesecake in there. So I've got a sieve just to get any, I'm sure there won't be any lumps, but also it just helps to get rid of any big air bubbles in there as well. And I'm just gonna pour it straight through here into the tin. Look at that. Super smooth, really chocolatey. And then don't forget to scrape the bottom of the sieve as well, because that is where all the extra cheesecake is hiding underneath. So it's quite a thick mixture, this, and it will level itself out in the oven, but we're just gonna give it a helping hand by just tapping it on the surface like this. Feels like I'm making macarons. Just to get rid of any big air bubbles. And then also, I'm just gonna grab a skewer and just run it through just to get rid of any big air bubbles, and then I'll give it another tap on the table. Just a couple more, I'm really sorry. Okay, so now it's ready for the oven, and I've set it to 230 degrees, and it's only going in for 25 minutes. Well, mine took 27 in this oven, yours might need a couple of minutes either side. Cheesecake is done. I'm going to take it out of the oven, and I want to show you how jiggly this is. Look at that. It's really, really wet inside. But what we need to do now is wait for it to cool down for about half an hour, 40 minutes, and then whack it straight in the fridge. And that will be in the fridge for a minimum of 18 hours. I'm going to leave it in overnight, so about 24 hours. It's 2 o'clock now. So we'll come back tomorrow and I'll cut this cheesecake open for you and we can try it together. Okay guys, it's the next day and it's time to get the cheesecake out of the fridge. It's been in there for about 24 hours, chilling out. And here it is. We're gonna cut it open and see what it looks like inside. So this is why I wanted to bake it in a springform pan, because I can just unclip it here all the way back and just take this off. I was gonna say with ease, but that was a little bit difficult. But it's easier than, you know, trying to pull it out of a tin that doesn't have a springform base. We can unpeel the paper, and it's super smooth. I can't wait to cut into this. Now, little tip, if you've got a blowtorch, I would use that to heat up the knife. If not, do it if you've got a gas hob, just on a flame to heat up the knife, or just run it under some hot water. It cuts through a lot easier, and you'll get a really silky slice out of this. Make sure the knife is nice and hot. Okay, and we'll go in. Then we'll just give the knife a wipe in between, just to make sure the second cut is nice and clean. Knife is still really hot, so we'll go in with the second cut. Beautiful. Now, here's the task to get it out. I've just got a cranked palette knife. I'm just gonna go underneath, and don't forget there is some paper on there as well, so I'm going to try and go in between the paper and the cheesecake. Okay, there we go. It's got a little bit missing, but that's okay. It is in there, but it's a very nice slice. I'm going to pop it on this plate. And that's it. Chocolate Basque cheesecake. Okay. Now, to give it a try. That is absolutely sensational. And when I posted this on my stories, a lot of you said, is it rich, is it creamy? And it is exactly that. You get the bitterness from the coffee, and you get that slight sweetness from the vanilla. And when I tried this recipe a couple of times, I altered the sugar. So because we're using 70% chocolate, I could put a little bit more sugar in there to make it a little bit more sweet. And because of that bitterness from the coffee, and then you get the sweetness and the salt and the vanilla, you kind of get a smoky caramel chocolate tone, and it's just absolutely gorgeous. This is for Michelle on Instagram, who said, you need to give me a warning before you post footage as sexy as this. And Michelle, this is your, I said I would say it in the video, and so this is for Michelle. This is your warning. This is chocolate Basque cheesecake, and I hope you give the recipe a go. Hope you enjoy it, making it and eating it as much as I do. And don't forget to share it with us all, hashtagging Crumbs and Doilies and Cupcake Jemma. And also, if you want a written recipe of this and many others on the channel, sign up to the Bake Club, patreon.com/Cupcake Jemma, and you'll get all of the downloadable PDFs there and some extras too. There we go. I'll see you again for another recipe. Bye.